Hammond City Council public hearing agenda, December 12th, 2023, 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Divatario.
Here.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilman Wells. Councilman Andrews.
Present.
Councilman Leon.
Public hearing item number 1.
An ordinance to approve an annexation request by Brian DePaula, Z-20223-10-00127, to annex lots 57 and 58 of I-12 Commercial Park located on the Lamont Drive per survey by Roy Edwards Land Surveying, Inc., dated 01/02/08, to be zoned C-8. It's in District 3, and recommended approval by the Zoning Commission. Lacey Land.
As introduced at our last city council meeting, this was heard by public hearing on November 9th by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and the Zoning Commission did recommend this unanimously to be approved to come before you tonight. It was introduced at our last council meeting, and then tonight it's up for public hearing and for potential final adoption. This parcel is located in Council District 3, so it's Councilman Wells' district. The future land use and the existing land use are both the same, commercial. It is, it's kind of out by the hospital, if you're familiar with that space. And the zoning would match everything that is around it. Probably the nearest landmark beside it is Scott's Pharmacy. You may be more familiar with that, actually facing onto Veterans. This is right behind it, and then to the east of these, kind of behind this, this one building, is a bunch of storage units. So they are asking for this to come into the city. This property owner also owns the land that is just to the northwest of the property, and so he wants to look at development as a whole there.
Is there anyone here on this item? Step to the mic, please. Give us your name and address.
My name is Brian DePaula, and I'm just here to answer any questions that you may have about this.
Anyone?
We currently have city sewage at the building that we're annexing.
And what's the purpose of annexing it into the city?
Well, like she said, we own both piece of parcels of property, and so we can do something with them together or whatever. There's a strip center on this particular piece, where the front piece that's already in the city limits is not, does not have anything on it. So we can tie them together if we decide to. It's actually two owners, but I own, all are part of both of the companies that own it.
Okay, Ms. Lacey, so what gonna be the purpose of actually annexing this into the city? What are the benefits for the city? That's what I need to know.
The benefits are the city is that you'll be bringing a commercial property into the city, and you will receive sales tax revenue from those sales at that commercial property.
Okay. All right, that's it for me, Mr. Bryan.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. Number 2.
An ordinance to approve a rezoning request by Jeremy Sims, Z-2023-10-00126, to rezone 311 North Holly Street per survey by McLean and Associates, Inc., dated 6/8/09, from RS5 to MXC, District 1. Recommended approval by the Zoning Commission. Lacey Landrum.
This case was also heard by the Zoning Commission on the same night of November 9th, had both a public hearing and a full recommendation coming from the Zoning Commission. This parcel is located in Council District 1, so Councilman Andrews, this parcel is in your district. It is an interesting parcel because the dwelling that's there has actually been there since 1992 and has operated as a multifamily space. since that time. When this new property owner purchased the property, he came to find out that it was zoned incorrectly, basically, for that use. And so he's bringing this into compliance. It does also align with the master plan and with the parcels that are surrounding that area. In your packet is a zoning map that shows you the difference, and you'll see a lot of different zonings kind of in this area. Across the street and to the west are both MXC, and then to the northeast is actually light industrial. The railroad tracks are north of this area, to give you some bearings. And then to the south of it is RS5.
Is there anyone here on this item? Please step to the mic. Give us your name and address, please.
My name's Jeremy Sims of 311 North Holly Street there. That property, as shown, is on the corner of East Church and North Holly. And then that whole 300 block of East Church was owned by Mr. Tom Hogan, and I bought the property from him at the end of September. The main structure was built per the parish tax records in late 30s, and then there was a renovation in the 60s, and so it looks like it's been used as a multi-use property since the 60s. And then when the UDC came by in 2014, this property had already, at the time that Mr. Hogan got it in 1992, was already in use as it is now. He's made no changes to it. So at least since 1992, we know that it's been in that same configuration. And so our purpose here is just to request to get it into that same zoning so that it's in compliance with what its historical and current use is.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. Step to the mic, please. Give us your name and address.
Hi, my name is Maria McClellan. I live immediately adjacent to Jeremy Sims. I'm at 309 North Holly. I am the only single-family residence in that block. First of all, the house was really built in the 1800s, so it's been changed over the years. Tom Hogan has owned it for a long time. Thankfully, Jeremy has taken it over because in 3 months, he's done more to that property than anything has been done to it in the 18 years I've lived next door to it. I encourage Jeremy to continue to do the things that he's doing now and ask for you to pay attention to that end of the street, because unfortunately I'm afraid that that end of the street on North Holly, right down here, has been overlooked for years by prior maybe building inspectors. Things were allowed to continue that should have never been allowed to continue. My city council person, I don't think is here tonight. No, Kip, you're Kip. Okay, you're okay, good. So I would ask you to pay attention to that area more closely. We're trying to improve the area, reduce the problems that we've had in the past. Jeremy seems to be doing the right thing. I encourage him to continue to do that. My question, though, is changing it to the MXC has a commercial overlay. Right. And everything on that block that Hogan owns is zoned MXC. What does that actually allow for? According to what I've read, it allows for retail and general commercial. So in theory, you could put a raw shop there. You could put, you know where I'm going with this. So how do we stop that from happening?
So the reason that the zoning is recommended in that is to carry the rest of that corridor. I mean, so if you look at it directly to, and this map shows it really well, directly to the north of that parcel is MXC. Both to the northwest and the northeast are actually light industrial. Right. To the west is MXC, to the west block over is MXC. So this would be the last parcel that would make sense being MXC.
Yeah, what does it allow? But that's the point.
Right.
Believe me, I know too intimately, Lacey, that we are in a mixed-use environment. We have a Cal-Maine plant which is industrial on the corner where the sound, the noise, the smell is outrageous and getting worse. And then, you know, I understand the value of putting everything into compliance for the MXC, but where does that go? So in other words, what keeps somebody from putting a Ross shop on the retail floor of one of those buildings over there? Nothing. Right?
You're
If
correct.
they're willing to state exactly what their business is, when they get the property, we could have it stated in that this particular person that's coming in with this particular business is going to operate with this. No, nothing outside of those parameters.
So if somebody wanted to put a retail business in there or a commercial business in one of those buildings, I'm not saying that Jeremy's going to do that, but that could happen down the road if Tom sells off some of the other properties. He owns the whole block. So if something like that happens, they have to come back here, come before you, and we have a chance to vote on whether or not they're going to be allowed to convert something into a commercial entity over there?
No, ma'am. It would not come back before the city council, but there are other avenues of enforcing what works well in the historical neighborhood. One of those is parking. So in our development code, it requires a certain amount of parking to support the different kinds of businesses that would locate there. If you cannot provide that parking, then you can't get an occupational license to run the business in that space.
Parking could also be on the street.
No, parking has to be on site because they're not central business district, which is closer to downtown. So central business district is the only district that is exempt from parking altogether because it's assumed that they're really close to the downtown parking malls. So instead, those parking requirements that are defined, and it depends on what type of business you're opening. For instance, a restaurant requires a lot more parking than, let's say, a salon does, or even maybe a tax office or something like that. So it depends on the type of business, but that parking would be important, and it would have to be shown to be able to be on site, and also your ADA accommodations have to come in to when new businesses open. So
we've got ADA compliancy, and then
Right.
we've got the parking.
Right. So they would actually probably have to either take down structures or, you know, remodel extensively, or maybe buy multiple lots and then combine them together. So there's lots of things that would happen, and potentially for, instead of just a business opening next week.
Last question. Why is the property across the street, which is now currently owned by the Lee Collins estate, why is that still RS5 and not MXC?
That's where the neighborhood is transitioning into residential. So we don't typically come in and rezone entire neighborhoods unless those property owners are engaged in that effort, and unless we have some sort of new plan that's going to happen for redevelopment of a space. So right now, all those are with the zoning that they had at that time.
This is raw land. It's undeveloped land. So you're saying that when and if they develop that site across the street, they have to come back and get an MXC?
They would have to come, not necessarily, it depends on what they want to do. So if they want to build a single-family home there, and it fits under RS5 zoning, then they could do that. If they wanted to do something different, then they would have to come back for a different zoning category.
So what are you in favor of the changing in the zoning, or are there some concerns you have on changing it from RS5 to MXC? Is there a,
Sam, I'm asking for qualifications and confirmation.
okay, no, I didn't know, because at first I thought you may have been for, the change, or if there was a, just,
I'm in favor of the change to the MXC because obviously it's going to happen. It should have happened in 2019. It got overlooked. Okay, that's a lot of things that's been happening in that end of town. It's been overlooked. I'm tired of it. I'm the only single-family residence between two apartment buildings. Jeremy's on one side, Will Friedrichs is on the other. And then we have, once again, a non-conforming industrial facility on the corner. So we're in a mixed-use area. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what y'all are thinking. Where is this going? Again, the land across the street that's owned by the Lee Collins estate. Okay, so it's raw land right now. It could come into something else later. And I'd like to know what that's going to be and how that's going to play into all of this. So yes, I'm in favor of the MXC conversion from what it is right now, and I'm asking y'all again, which is what I started off by saying, please pay attention to that end of town. Thank you. Any comments, questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Best thing for you to do is really pay attention to the community, because just like Ms. Lacy said, it won't come before us. You can tell us more about that street, about that area than anybody.
Yeah, I am.
I know. So the best thing for you to do, whenever something being sold, you pay attention to the signs.
Oh, I am. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
See ya.
Okay.
Next item.
An ordinance to approve an expanded conditional use request by Wendell Powell and Kerry Vineyard, Z-2023-09-00125, for the location of 79 Whitmore Drive, Zone RS11, to allow for the use of group living in District 5 with the following conditions. This is a personal right and expires upon a change in ownership of the property from the person originally granted the conditional use or from the tenant of the property being H2O Ministries. The group living use, number 2, the group living use is for a transitional living program for youth. Number 3, the group living use must remain in compliance with the state licensure. Number 4, there can be no exterior signage. Number 5, there can be no retail sales. Recommended approval by the Zoning Commission. Lacey Landrum.
Earlier today, the Planning Department received an email from Kerry Vineyard, who is co-director of H2O Ministries and also applicant on this case. H2O is rescinding our request for an exemption for conditional group living on 79 Whitmore in Hammond, Louisiana, effective December 12, 2023. Thank you.
Lacey, I want to ask you a question. Somebody brought it to my attention about Florence Drive property that has a group home right now. Did the proper paperwork get situated with that particular home, or I received an email. I don't know. Did y'all receive an email about it? Yeah. So what all? I didn't see a response. What's going on with that?
I didn't receive an email about
Okay.
any of that.
Okay. I saw some. Are you familiar with the Florence Drive group home?
I am familiar with that location right there. Is that what
Okay.
you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what this email is pertaining to.
Okay.
I wasn't copied or forwarded that email.
Okay. I
so.
think it was a group of people I thought you may have, and I didn't see a response. So I'll forward it to you so you get a clarification on that. Thank you.
Hammond City Council regular session agenda, December the 12th, 2023, 5:48 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Andrews,
Present.
Councilman Wells,
Here.
Councilman Divatario,
Here.
Councilman Leon, Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Present.
There were some people here that wanted to speak and had a couple of questions about the general situation. Are they not allowed to speak? We didn't ask if anybody had any questions or needed to say something. It was gonna be brief about the group living. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we were concerned about that.
It's really moot because it's not on the agenda. I mean, there will be no vote.
On the agenda,
But since there's no public hearing, it's been withdrawn, so there's nothing for the council to vote on. The applicants requested to be,
Do you want them allowed to ask a question or two?
well, I mean, well, I understand, Judge, but we'll see what the council does when it comes up. They could determine to be moot because it's no longer, there's no application on the table.
Yeah, all right. When I come back to it on the agenda, I'll address it then. All right, thank you. Our prayer. Eternal Father, we thank you on this evening. We give you glory, we give you honor, we give you praise, we give you thanks on the day, Father God, just thanking you for who you are. Father God, we thank you for just another day's journey. We come right now lifting up our city administration, our city officials. We ask you to continue to bless those that protect us and serve us in this city. From our fire department, our police department, we ask you to continue to bless each city employee. Father God, if there's ever a time we need you right now. And we just thank you for your grace and your mercy. We thank you for the divine privileges that you made for us right now, Father God, to be able to live in a country where we could freely serve you right now. We thank you, Father God, for this time of this year, the season that we've entered in, this time of gift giving. And the ultimate gift that was given was your darling son, who you allowed to die and be born just for our sins. For that we are grateful right now. But we will not lose our focus during this season and take it off of him right now. And for that we are just thankful right now. We thank you that everything this evening will be done decent, order, pleasing in your sight. We know that you're not the author of confusion. Therefore you will get all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. I ask that you continue to guide us, to continue to keep us from all hurt, harm, and danger. We thank you for traveling grace to and fro our destinations on this evening. For that we thank you, we give you glory, we give you honor, we give you praise. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Our Pledge of Allegiance, I ask that all veterans and active military please render the proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of our minutes from our November 28, 2023 meeting, please.
I make a motion to approve.
Councilman Divatario?
Present. I mean, Jesus, yeah, yes, I'll say yes, yeah.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Abstain.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye. Final adoption of ordinance number 1.
Final adoption of an ordinance to approve an annexation request by Brian DePaula, Z-2023-10-00127, to annex lots 57 and 58 of I-12 Commercial Park, located on Lamont Drive, per survey by Roy Edwards Land Surveying, Inc., dated 01/02/08, to be zone C-H, District 3, recommended approval by Zoning Commission.
Anyone from the public again on this item? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Final adoption of ordinance number 2.
Final adoption of an ordinance to approve a rezoning request by Jeremy Sims, Z-2023-10-00126, to rezone 311 North Holly Street, per survey by McLean and Associates, Inc., dated 6/8/09, from RS-5 to MX-C in District 1. Recommended approval by the Zoning Commission.
Anyone else from the public on this item? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Final adoption of ordinance number 3.
Final adoption of an ordinance to approve an expanded conditional use request by Wendell Powell and Carrie Vineyard, Z-2023-09-00125, for the location of 79 Whitmore Drive, zoned RS-11, to allow for the use of group living. This is in District 5 with the following conditions. 1, this is a personal right and expires upon a change in ownership of the property from the person originally granted the conditional use or from the tenants of the property, being H2O Ministries. 2, the group living use is for a transitional living program for youth. 3, the group living use must remain in compliance with state licensure. 4, there can be no exterior signage. 5, there can be no retail sales. Recommended approval by the Zoning Commission.
So this item was mooted.
Yeah, so I mean, you could receive public comment,
Okay.
or you could move to remove it from the agenda because there's really nothing pending before the council.
Okay. All right, so what we could do is, I could still remove it, I could take a public comment, right?
Well, you take public comment before you remove it.
Okay, okay. I'll take 2 comments on this item. Step to the mic, please.
My name is Heather Dykes. I live at 9 Silman. I have a question about the code, the information in the code. Would you mind if I give you a copy of it so that you can look at it?
I think they can hear you, Eve. Thank you.
They're sharing.
All right. Well, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So Whitmore is in RS11, and according to this, it doesn't allow group living. I'm asking for future reference. That's all. So in RS11, it doesn't allow group living, and it also it's not even allowed by conditional use, according to the 3rd page. So at the bottom, I mean, that's the way I interpreted this. So can another organization, fill out an application to put a group home in Whitmore?
I think either the planning department or the city attorney needs to see this, because I agree that doesn't make sense, right? Because this document, taken without anything else, says it's not even allowed by conditional use.
That's
So,
exactly what I'm
right,
saying.
it's a good point. Those applications are made and then they come to us. So we're not the gatekeeper of even allowing those applications. So I think this needs to be brought up to the people who are the gatekeeper of allowing those applications.
So should this have passed the planning commission?
Reading what you sent, it doesn't look like it, and it goes to the Planning and Zoning Board, which unanimously approved it.
Exactly.
To come this way. So I don't know if they didn't read it or wasn't shown to them or not, but y'all shouldn't be here, and, during the holiday, especially on something that is about as clear as day if you read it, so.
It seems like this should have been a 1-meeting deal and not a 5-meeting deal.
And I think the best thing to do is really ask Ms. Lacy about it and let her explain it to you, because the problem is, a lot of things we don't know. And a lot of things come to us that they just overlook or might not see it. So the best thing to do, since Ms. Lacy here, is ask her, because she's been a part of it all the while.
Right.
So she can explain it more than anybody, with the question that you asked.
And she's presenting it too, so, at the meeting, so you should be able to explain that to probably her right now.
You want me to explain a chart to
No,
her?
explain-
that
actually
I
explain
just
what
got
she-
handed to me?
Yeah, just about how it made it past the Planning and Zoning Board, the administrator, just if it's that clear on here, did y'all read it? I mean, these are documents she probably pulled offline in the book.
It's the Hammond
This is,
Development Code.
this is part of the development code. In overall planning, just because there's not a square there doesn't mean that it's prohibited by conditional use. It says allowed by conditional use.
So
Doesn't mean that it's
everything-
prohibited.
So basically, everything is allowed by conditional use.
A conditional use versus a restricted use are 2 tools that are in planning. One enables you to expand the uses of a parcel based on its current zoning. One enables you to restrict the uses of a parcel based on its current zoning. We went through all the notification procedures. We followed all the laws about how this would change. It's not something that can be granted automatically, which is why we went through the whole process of coming here, going through planning and zoning, and then coming to the city council. It's not something that the staff can decide. It's not something that even the Planning and Zoning Commission makes the final decision on. All of those changes in use come before the city council.
So we can be back up here at any point in time in the future for the same situation when it's pretty clear cut that it's not allowed in RS 11, even even with a conditional use. I mean, I don't understand how you can say that it is. I mean, what's the point in having the chart if
We have found lots
Thing
of
that they
places in the development code that are rich for rewriting and for clarifying. So that may be another thing that we add to the list. Andre and I talk about these sections and how a chart may look at one thing, but the actual writing throughout the entire development code, and then when you compare the actual city ordinances with state law, there's lots of things that can always be clarified. We went through the full process of advertising, both in the newspaper, with the adjacent property owners, and with the signage. We went through 2 full meetings at Planning and Zoning, and then we came to the City Council. So we have followed due diligence throughout our process. The decision-making that occurs at each level requires input, and that's what happened here. There was lots of input, there's lots of people that have been involved in this, and that's the way our democracy works.
Thank you.
Ultimately, the council defines what is all in the book and what are the ordinances of the city of Hammond, so.
All right. That's it. Move to the next.
I just make a motion, I'd make a motion to remove it from the agenda.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to remove it from the agenda.
Second.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Wells,
Aye.
Councilman Leon,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Introduction of an ordinance.
Introduction of an ordinance proposing an election to determine amendment to the City of Hammond Home Rule Charter, providing for the City Council authority to remove the police chief and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Councilman Andrews.
All right, so we've been having options on the table for this for a moment, and we need to go ahead and define which way we're going to head in this process. I've submitted this option to be another option to move forward with for us to discuss. Andre received some of the information and he made some changes on what was submitted. So if you'd like to explain it, Andre?
Yes, so this is the proposition that would call for an election to change the charter. And so the charter change requires a vote, an election. So what is proposed, what was sent out, really just had errors about the references to what would be changed if the change would be to allow the city council, a majority of the city council, to remove the police chief. So the references were incorrect in the charter. And so what I've suggested that if that's to go forward, the appropriate place to amend it would be Article 2, Section 2.18 of the Home Rule Charter, which would, it's a new section, which just basically gives the city council the authority to remove the police chief by a vote of not less than 3 members at a regular meeting of the council or at a special meeting of the council called for that purpose. So to me, if the idea on the table is to allow the council to remove the chief, then that would be the place to put it, in Article 2 of the Charter, Section 2.18, which would be a new section. So if there's a inclination to introduce it, then I would recommend that you amend the agenda, because what was put out there would not be what would be introduced. What would be introduced is, rather than changing Article 3, 2.33, would be Article 2 to add Section 2.18. The authority to remove the police chief, it would read, the city council may remove the police chief by the vote of not less than 3 members at a regular meeting of the council or at a special meeting of the council called for that purpose.
The only comment I have on it is I would, and I've talked to some people who've also shared this view of it should be more than just a simple majority, that it should be, there's other areas in the charter where we have a two-thirds vote, investigations into the affairs of the city, overriding a veto, and then I looked at deeming the mayor unable to discharge his or her duties. So I just would put that out for consideration as a two-thirds, not less than two-thirds of the city council.
Kip, I like what you proposed over here. I mean, I think it's a good accountability put forth without having an election but giving accountability to where, you know, the people have some say so in that, giving it to the council. They had people on both sides thinking the election was a bad idea and appointed as a bad idea. So I think this is a pretty good little compromise you have proposed here. So I think you did a good job.
I mean, from the beginning when we started this, I even stated that if it went to an election, whatever process it went through, if it passed or if it failed, we still needed to look at cleaning up whatever option that we had. Mm-hmm. And so to not beat a dead horse, because you got one group that's saying it's good to vote, and one group saying that it's not, and with the group saying that it's not good, and they talking about, you know, it being corrupt and all of that, and my staying conversation with them would be like, you vote for a sheriff, you vote for a marshal, what would be the difference? Then you got a group that's not for it. So I'm just trying to find a common ground, because we're the one that field all the phone calls about different things, and if you're not moving or doing anything, they think that you're not doing anything. So I'm just trying to bring a compromise to the table of something that we could do to put on the books, and this is basically what it is. So like I stated, in the introduction is up for discussion for whatever changes, amends that need to be made, and Andre caught that part, and he made a change on it. So
Now, that would be amending the ordinance, not the agenda. You would be amending, you're just making a motion to amend the ordinance that was on there, just correct
Yeah,
it.
the agenda's already been out.
Yeah.
And it's already been put out there. So what you'd be doing is to.
Amend the ordinance that's on here.
Yeah,
I mean, have we done
amend
that in
the
the
ordinance.
past?
Yeah, I mean, just to make it clear, what you're doing is, rather than making a change to what was put out there, you would be adding Article 2, Section 2.18 of the Home Rule Charter, which would read, the City Council may remove the police chief by the vote of not less than 3 members at a regular meeting of the council or at a special meeting of the council called for that purpose. So you could make a motion to introduce the ordinance with this language, adding 2.18, as I've just read.
anyone else on this item in the public? Anyone from the council? I make a motion to amend the proposed item that was on the agenda to make the amendment to add Article 2, Section.
Yes, sir. What you'd be doing is adding
2.8.
Article 2, Section 2.18,
Okay.
the authority to remove the police chief.
So you made a motion?
He just made the
So,
motion
all right.
to amend it,
To amend
to
it.
read it
Second.
as it is.
Second, yeah.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
And Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
So now to introduce, it would be to add 2.18, just as you talked about, to introduce that as
I make-
proposed ordinance.
I make a motion to add that article to,
Make a motion to
Introduce.
Introduce.
oh, make a motion to introduce, I'm sorry.
Second.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Public hearing will be scheduled for July 9th, 2024.
July?
I'm sorry, January?
Well, you done skipped half a year, huh?
January 9th, 2024.
Public hearing. Resolution number 1.
A resolution to approve the appointment of Todd DeLon, representing the City of Hammond, Mayor, to the Downtown Development District Board for a 2-year term, effective January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2025. Michelle Kendall.
Good evening, council. Can you
Good evening.
hear me here? So we are back before you again for our board of director nominations. The first one that you have before you is for the city of Hammond, the mayor's seat. It's currently served by Cassie Reagan. She is finishing up her service with us, and Todd DeLon has been, as you can see in your packet, the letter and everything provided there. For his appointment, he's continuing his service in a different position. He currently serves as our East Side Business and Property Owner Representative and is looking forward to serving in the mayor's seat. He is here this evening if you have any questions for him.
I have a question for you. Why is he jumping seats? So he's already on the board as the East Side property owner. Just curious as to why why that's changing.
So he was, the East Side seat was basically a temporary appointment when we came before you all in February, because we had an opening. So that seat was set to open regularly at the end of this year. So with that process reopening, he decided to pursue a different seat. And he can speak for his own sake if you'd like to. But we think he's a great candidate for the mayor's seat.
Would you like to step up, make a comment, sir?
Todd DeLon, 206 East Thomas Street. How y'all doing tonight?
All right.
Todd,
Hey, guys.
why are you jumping seats?
If I'm completely honest, there's a whole process of you have to go out and get approvals.
Oh, that's true.
so-
Yeah.
And I didn't want to repeat that process again, but I'd love to sit on the seat and this one's a 2-year seat, so it makes it a whole lot easier. I don't have to repeat that process. for
That's a
2 years.
real good answer.
Obviously, y'all know who I am, what we own, so we have a very heavily vested interest in downtown Hammond, and I'd like to continue to serve on the seat of the Board of Directors for the Downtown Development District. Appreciate your vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Any other questions or concerns from the council? If not, pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Excuse me, Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
And Councilman Leon.
Resolution number 2.
A resolution to approve the appointment of Chance Kitchen, representing the Chamber of Commerce, to the Downtown Development District Board for a 2-year term, effective January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2025. Michelle Kendall.
So this is our second seat. The Chamber of Commerce seat is currently filled by Elspeth Hollywood. She's here. And then Melissa Bordelon with the Chamber is also here if you have any questions. Their choice is Kitchen, and you can see everything for his eligibility criteria in your packets. He's also here on this busy Tuesday night.
Would you like to step forward and make a comment, please?
Good evening, Chance Kitchen, 123 South Kate Street is my business. 811 East Thomas Street is my new residence. And, yeah. I love working with the DDD, especially, since Michelle took over. But Melissa and I work hand in hand with the chamber. I was recently on the Restaurant Roundtable Board, and I'm very pro-business for our community, and I love working with all the other business owners, not just in the restaurant business, but just everybody in the community. Pretty sure most of you know who I am. I'm a solid person for the community, and I really want to be a part of it.
Okay. Thank you.
I got a question for you, Chance. Did you bring any Brussels sprouts for us?
I just got 50 pounds delivered, so got to clean them up.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public on this item? Anyone else from the council with any concerns or questions? If not, pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye. Resolution number 3.
A resolution to approve the appointment of Mary Gitto or Jeff Lesser representing the East Side Business and Property Owners to the Downtown Development District Board for a 2-year term effective January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2025. Michelle Kendall.
So as mentioned, this seat was, the appointment that you made in February was basically a temporary appointment. So with opening up with the scope of the year, this seat was available. We do have 2 competitive nominations for you, Jeff Lesher and Mary Giteau. I know we did discuss last time I came before you all about our board of directors making a recommendation to you when we do have a competitive nomination. And upon discussing that, our board basically feels it's not their place to do that. Elizabeth is here. She wants to back me up with that one. So I understand that you're kind of in a difficult position here, but you can see all of the eligibility criteria, all the documentation for both of the candidates laid out. They were required to submit 5 letters from business owners on the east side of the tracks to complete their nomination. And through all of our checks and processes and all the eligibility criteria, they're both fully qualified to serve in that seat.
I wanted to ask you, the other 2 beforehand, was there just not any competition with, or it's just they only get one pick for the last 2 didn't have 2 people by it? Like,
So our
how does that
east
work?
side and our west side seats are the ones that require 5 letters. And so the mayor's seat, per our statute, basically specifies that the mayor only has to pick 1.
Okay.
The Chamber of Commerce spent a lot of time trying to secure 3 options for y'all to pick from, and ultimately Chance was the best pick for them. And then our east side seat basically is open to anyone that meets that eligibility criteria, and they have to get 5 letters of support from those business owners on the respective side of the track. So our west side seat also operates the same. And this is all per our statute, which you'll see it's the 3rd page in your packet.
Okay.
If you have any specific questions about that.
Okay. Anyone? I'm sorry. Okay. All right. You step to the mic.
Jeremy Sims, and I at 311 North Holly. We are in the east side of the Triple D, and new to the area for since the end of September. It's 5 letters from business owners, but yet the DDD encompasses a whole bunch of single-family residences and things like that as well. I'm just curious why resident and just single-family residential owners don't have any input. I mean, not that they don't have any input. I don't understand this system.
Yeah, so I can address that.
Thank you.
The DDD is a political subdivision of the state. It was formed in the late 80s. And so when we look at our statute, how we're formed, that we understand that there's some gaps in there, and representation from residents can be one of those issues. We are working really diligently next year to bring back our residential committee. We do have line items specified for both the east side and west side of the track for residential-led projects. And we recently moved that line item to go into a project fund, which basically allows those funds to be saved from year to year so that our residents on each side of the track can dedicate those funds to what they would like to see versus them just going to our general fund every year. So we are trying our efforts with what we can. To change our statute would require that Nikki Mascarello or another representative or senator would take a bill to the Capitol. It would have to pass the Senate, it would have to pass the House, and then depending upon the changes, it may have to go before the council, and further depending upon the changes, it may have to go to public election. So you can see through that process.
Seems simple.
Right. And not cost prohibitive at all. So as we look towards what we can do with our structure, we want to definitely add a place for our residents to give us their input, and we have a really great foundation and base to do that next year.
Thank you.
Everybody, good evening. I'm
Good
Mary Moad Gito. I am a business owner at Holly and Smith Architects at 208 North Kate Street. And I was approached to put my name up for this position. I've been working in downtown Hammond for 16 years. I do commercial interior design, Holly and Smith, as well as architecture. I'm very vested in downtown. I work there. I live not far from there. My kids go to school right outside of there. I spend all of my time and money in the businesses in downtown. I'm a big proponent of community and of supporting our community. My father was the mayor of my hometown for 20 years when I grew up, and so I understood the importance of giving back. And so now I feel it's a good time for me to give back to Hammond in the place that I live and in the place that I work. And as a designer with an architectural background as well, I think I could be an asset to the DDD. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Leicester for you that don't know me. I own Footerly Law and Title, so I'm a business owner and a property owner here in the DDD. My business partner, Beasley Landry, and I just built the new building on the corner of Southwest Railroad and Hewitt. I have represented, obviously, a number of businesses in this area, as well as operated a business here for almost 20 years now. We handle a lot of real estate transactions, residential and commercial, as well as transactional law, so leases, contracts, things like that for our clients in this area. Born and raised here on the east side of Ponchatoula, and have operated in this area and actually in this these chambers as a juvenile public defender for a while as well. So I just want to be part of the DDD and help out. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer those.
All right, anyone else from the public on this item? Anyone from the council have any other questions or concerns?
Michelle, I'm going to ask you guys again next time. Come with a recommendation. This is a tough one. It's wonderful to have people that want to get involved in the DDD. It's a testament to the DDD to have such great candidates and people who want to be a part of it, because it really is a wonderful entity. You guys do a great job. I've had a couple people reach out in favor of one over the other, so that's how my vote's going to go. But yeah, you guys try and give us a recommendation next time.
Yeah, y'all both seem like great candidates, and yeah, it is be a hard, it's hard decision always to make, and always gotta say yes to somebody. So, I'd like to make a motion to approve Jeff Leicester.
Second.
Councilman DiViterio.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
No.
Councilman Leon.
No.
Councilman Wells.
Yes.
Councilman Andrews.
No.
Make a motion to appoint Mary Gito.
Second.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman DiViterio.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
And Councilman Leon.
Thank you
All right.
both.
Thank you both.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Thank y'all.
I hope no hard feelings. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
For your
Hey, we have some other
willingness.
boards we can put you up on, Jeff, if you're interested.
I want to talk. Ma'am, could you stop her from?
Michelle or Mary?
No, going out the door. No, the lady in the front.
Mary? Oh, her.
Could you wait for me? Thank you.
You didn't leave yet.
Resolution.
I'm sorry. See, Miss Mary, it wasn't hard. They just make it seem like it's hard. It ain't hard.
Resolution number 4.
A resolution to reappoint Regina DeLon to the Hammond Historic District Commission for a 4-year term until December 31st, 2027. She was originally appointed to the commission on February 23rd, 2021 by Mayor Pinapito.
I'll speak on behalf of the mayor. He wants to reappoint Regina. She has been serving since February 23rd of 2021 on the Historic Commission. So she also, like some of the other appointments we've heard tonight, finished someone's term. So this would be her first full new term on the Historic Commission. She's an excellent listener. She's been very proactive in terms of the business applications that have come before her. And I think she has the right attitude and the right character in terms of reviewing the detailed applications that are needed for the historic guidelines and those applications coming before the commission.
She here tonight, Dr. Landry?
Yes, ma'am. Sir.
Would you like to step up and
Yes,
say?
I'm Regina DeLon, 206 East Thomas Street. I have truly enjoyed being on this historic committee, and I would really be honored to continue if given the opportunity.
Regina, thank you for being willing to serve. That is a tough board, that one is.
It is.
And, you know, you've done a great job, and I thank you for your service, and you and your husband, y'all a little power couple here on board-wise.
Thank you. You know, there are so many rules and regulations in our binder that I think given to do the whole term would be very good for me, because you learn every different scenario that comes before you, you learn something. And so it takes a long time to gain all of that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so to give me a little bit more time, I would really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else from the public on this particular item? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Number 5, a resolution to ratify and award bids received 12/7/2023 for sewer system rehabilitation water sector program FY 2022, project number 616-12304, Lacey Landrum.
Chuck couldn't be here tonight because he was supposed to go and visit his grandkids a couple of weeks ago, and that trip fell through, and so he had to reschedule for this evening. So he apologizes for not being here tonight, but we did want to go ahead and go forward with this project since it is more sewer rehab for the city of Hammond. In your packet are several key items. It is Chuck's letter and recommendation to go forward with the lowest and responsive bidder. In Situform Technologies, we have worked with on many sewer projects over the years, and they've always performed really well. They've, according to their project schedule and according to their budget, we've had fewer change orders with them as well. So you can see that we were very fortunate during this bid opening because there is quite a spread between the bids themselves. Fortunately, this project came in under budget. We were fingers crossed on this one because it came in at $5.7 million, almost $5.8 million. The next closest bid was 8.8, almost 8.9 million, and that would have busted our budget. So we are very fortunate that we came in with a bid that will work. This does leave approximately $40,000 in surplus for the project. And just to be clear, this is all grant funding coming through this project. It is a combination of the water sector program, which is funds that came down from the federal government to our state government that we applied for and were successful. We are matching some of those funds with the direct federal allocation that we got in our recovery dollars. So it's $5 million from the water sector program, and it's approximately 1.8 from the American Rescue Plan grant. Overall, you have already approved prior with those rescue funds. You've already approved the contract that goes to Chuck to manage this as an engineering project. So tonight, we would ask you to approve this contingent on the Office of Community Development, Local Government Assistance approval. We just opened the bids and we're trying to expedite the project, so this is contingent on their approval, and then we would go forward. If y'all approve it tonight, once they approve, then we're ready to go.
Do you need us to say that in the resolution?
It does need to
Contingent
be
on the Office
contingent.
of Community Development approval?
Yes, you can say contingent on OCD-LGA approval.
Got it.
Is there anyone else here from the public on this particular item? Step to the mic, give your name and address, please.
Good evening. David Foster, 45331 Pioneer Road, Hammond, Louisiana. I had a chance to look at that project. Can everybody hear me well?
Yeah.
It's a good project, but a lot of minorities, a lot of small businesses, they cannot able to afford to get a project like that. All I want to do is recommend that we look at some of these big projects and see if we can break them down a little bit to level the playing field off, to give the minorities a chance to establish their businesses and grow. Because a lot of the work I could do, but the bonding capacity is limited. And that would help out the community because my whole mission is to actually help the community, to actually train people, because that's what I do. I'm a trainer, to actually train and make Hammond grow even more. But with bids coming in like that, and I see the big gap between the different, that's kind of like and that's an indicator there when I see that large price range between the two. But if they could break those projects up into smaller pieces or divide it up in 4 different equal sections, that give other contractors like myself and other people in the room to actually get chances at this good work that's coming down from the federal government. You know, give everybody a piece of the pie. And then that way we could make Hammond grow even more. That's all I have today.
Anyone else on this item?
Thank you. Mr. David, that's a good point, and I'm glad you said that because several times projects have came through and local contractors haven't been able to get these projects. And to me, it don't make sense to have local contractors that's in the area, taxes going in the area, that these projects so big that the locals not able to touch it. So, Ms. Lacey, I know you don't have nothing to do with this, and that's why it's important. When we put things on the agenda, unless it's an emergency, it need to be taken off because they need to be able to explain what took place and why it's such a big item and it's not broken down to several contractors that can do it versus one contractor doing it. And yet the project might take, what, 1 year? What's the time frame on the project?
I think the project will be at least 1 year. They're working all over the city in terms of the evaluation of the sewer system and then in terms of the rehab, both with point repairs and with full lining. I did not look at the project term. Chuck would know that offhand. We could look back in the specifications and see how long it's going to take. I know what we're trying to do is we already still have some of our funding underway with the rest of our sewer funds that came down. And so I think we're just trying to get this next section rolled out to take advantage. One of the things that you're seeing nationwide is a shortage of contractors to be able to perform the work because there was so much money that came down from the federal government, both directly to people and then through the state governments. That's a blessing and a curse at the same time. That money was allocated for 3 different purposes: water improvements, sewer improvements, or fiber technology. So we have invested all of our funding in sewer and gone after that competedly and repeatedly. And so we're just seeking approval for this project for tonight.
Yeah, but I don't think you heard exactly what I said, you know. And I know this don't have nothing to do with you. We're going to have to find a way, even the councilmen, and we all need to be involved, that the locals are not getting none of these projects. And that's my only concern, you know, from minorities to any of them. They're not receiving none of these contracts because we put the bond be so high, they're not even able to get the bond. So, and Chuck, he know exactly what he's doing, and it's not fair because what it is, Chuck's still gonna eat off of this. You know, he's the engineer, he gonna eat off of it, and he's a local. But it's not fair to the ones that small guys in the area not able to even bid on it. So I know you don't have nothing to do with it, but it's something that that Chuck can do, and if he can't do it, it's something that the councilman can do where more people can be involved in it, and it won't last from 1 year to 3 years on this here project. Thank you. That's all I had to say.
Anyone else? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Resolution number 6,
A resolution to transfer $50,000 from the available funds of closed projects 4201-5800-560330 to City Hall Generator Project 12119 for a total project budget of $130,000. Lacey Landrum.
We are requesting to transfer these funds so that we can make this project go. This is a generator that we have worked on since Ida, since actually before Ida. When Ida hit, we had already ordered, and it had actually, I think, just been delivered, a generator that was natural gas. When we saw all the challenges that happened during Ida, there was decisions made that that natural gas was not the most productive way for us to go forward. So we are now seeking to purchase a diesel generator that can be filled manually, that we know we can count on the diesel supply that's much more reliable, and we're not counting on dependent of natural gas. This generator would actually be powering not only City Hall, but also the council chambers, because that's a building that has never been on generator power, but we realized post-Ida that you certainly want to be able to have council meetings and have other meetings, particularly or potentially in this room. It would also power the third building, the evidence building. So it's 3 buildings tied into this single generator. We are suggesting to purchase off of state contract. The generator itself runs around $100,000, which is included in your packet, and that's the next item. And then we're asking for about $30,000 to be able to tie it in. That's about how much we spent on the recreation generator, which is the last really big generator that we installed. So we use that as kind of a comparable framework there. So in the available funds right now, we have approximately $123,064.37, taking out $50,000, and these are all projects that have been closed but remain within the construction fund of 420, so that they can only be used in that regard. Even if we took out this full $50,000 from that to help make this project budget go, we would have $73,064.37 remaining. If you'll remember, our original budget that you allocated back for this generator in particular was $80,000, and so that's why we're at this place now, needing additional funds to move forward, both with the purchase of the generator that will tie in additional facilities and for the installation activities. Todd is here on behalf of ARCO if you have questions about the specifics of the generator itself. The state contract pricing is from 2022, so putting this out for bid, I doubt, unless Santa Claus came down, that you would get better pricing.
Step to the mic, give us your name and address.
David Foster, 45331 Pioneer Road. Again, and this is what I'm talking about. You know, at least giving a small business an opportunity. Who knows? I probably can beat the state contract pricing. Again, like I said, my job is to train people, to educate them, so we all could have a better life, so we all could eat. At least give me the opportunity to at least have a chance to even look at it. Don't just assume. Because when you assume, now you're taking money out of my pocket. You're taking money away from my family. Okay? I just want the same respect. Just give me the opportunity, and we'll go from there. So, like I say, I'm here, I'm local. And this is my first time. The only reason I heard about this generator, one of my guys who work with me, business owner that's in this area, called me. He said, you need to go to this meeting tonight because I think it's something that's pertaining to you. But all I ask is for opportunity. I'm not asking for a handout. Just an opportunity to show what I could do and to help move Hammond forward. You know, I want to train people. I want to give everybody I can a better life. Help to see that it's better. Not every chance you get a job. Look, when I called today, it's like going the state route is the best way where I don't have to deal with nobody. No, let's make it equal across the board. Let's make it a level playing field for everybody, because I need to eat too.
So you think you could have competed with the state contract, and that's supposed to be the cheapest route to go normally?
Yes, if I'd have known, yes, give me a chance. You know, I don't mind taking a little loss here and there. At least give me something, but just don't go and say, look, hey, and just open the door and then close it. Like I was looking at this paperwork right here. It was dated December 11th. What's the date?
12.
Hey, service is good. That's very quick. You know what I mean? So, hey, just make it fair. Give me a chance. I'm a small business. Give me a chance so I could actually get some of these contracts, train some people, and actually put some people to work. But if I can't get no contracts and can't get no work, all these work's going to these big companies, what's going to happen? Why am I going to pay the same insurance, pay the same taxes, pay everything, and I can't get work? And this is what frustrates me. That's all I got to say.
So these items that come like this, they go out for bid, or they put on the website. How does that process go?
They don't have to go out for bid. It's a state contract. They don't have to put it out for bid. And this is the reason why I'm fussing all the time, because it's there and it's gone.
So again, my question would be, if it's for like with the state contract, you don't have to go through that process?
That's
I'm just
correct.
trying to get some clarification for myself.
That's correct, because the state has already bid it on behalf of all the entities in the state.
Okay.
So the bid went out. They have to still go through a formal bid process in order to establish a state contract.
Okay.
So all that happens, they pick, and they have a contract period then. This one started, I believe, in December of 2022, or about that time period.
Power Systems. Hello again, council. We bid this project right around December of 2022. We were awarded in December of 2022 this project.
Not this project, the state.
I'm sorry, the state contract, I apologize. So we went up against Caterpillar, Cummins, Kohler, MTU, every manufacturer, as you can imagine, all the distributors. We're the distributor of industrial power for Generac for the state of Louisiana. So we bid against all the other competitors, and I'm glad to say that we have won that contract. We have renewed that contract again, but we went up against every manufacturer that you can imagine. We have also held that contract since 2009. This is a way for us to help support all the entities in the state of Louisiana, all municipalities, state, public, every entity, any quasi-public entity can buy off the state contract, and it is a very, very, very low margin project. Now, just as Mr. David says, yeah, we could, support him in a bid, but obviously we'd be selling to him, who would then turn around and sell to you. We haven't sold him anything ever that I know. He's not a customer of ours, but we are the only industrial Generac distributor in the state of Louisiana that could sell you this generator. This is the lowest possible price. Again, we've shown that time and time again with the state contract winning up our bid, and we'd love to support y'all even further. We also support y'all with the service work throughout y'all's city. We've started that contract, and we appreciate that work as well.
I had a question about the generator being diesel and gas, the natural gas. What's the difference on the pricing when something like that varies on the diesel versus the gas route, natural?
Natural gas is going to go up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It is just the engine itself. We can even help. We are Energy's power through supplier as well. We could help with that. But as you've gone through the problems that y'all had during Ida, gas is an issue. When they come through and turn the gas off, you're out. Diesel you can come and get, and that helps you run on critical infrastructure like you have right here.
If they don't run out of diesel, right?
Diesel.
I mean, if you went around the pumps around here in Hammond during Ida, the gas, all the stations, diesel, everything was out. They had to go miles away. So
because we're a public entity, we actually receive gas through the GOSEP office and through our EEOC. So both regular gas and diesel gas, we had providers that went around and tapped off our generators that would allow for diesel.
We're part of the GOSEP portion as well, like we presented last time. We are the GOSEP responder that if you do need diesel, we have right around 3 bobtails that sit on a yard, not 30 minutes from you.
How long you been with this company, sir?
Since 2009. It's our pride to serve public entities. It is 70% of what we do. We believe it is key to support the infrastructure of our state, our cities, and our local governments. That is what we do.
Thank you.
Again, it's all about small businesses, okay? Small business, if you don't support small businesses, they can't survive. You heard what he said. I mean, I never bought any from them. If I need to, I will. But if you don't get contracts, how can you buy anything from them? That's the point. You know, small businesses, it don't make sense to even have a business if you're going to give all the work to the people you want to give to. You know, it's just that simple, you know. And like I said, I'm not complaining, but at least level the playing field.
Matthews, 905 Del Mar. I just want to make a comment. I don't know if this thing is on or not. I think at some point in time, from the city's perspective, when it comes to procurement, and I don't know how it's structured right now in the totality, but we're going to have to take a deep dive and take a look at minority participation, women-owned business participation, WBE, MBE participation, so on and so forth. And I know lots of it is dependent upon the funding source where the money's come from. I haven't really seen that from the city just yet, but it may be something that we want to take up in the very near future. Secondly, I don't know, the gentleman mentioned that they had the state contract. I'm curious to know, in the bidding of that state contract, was minority participation required? So you said the state contract of state of Louisiana did not require any minority participation?
They can't require it because there's no manufacturer that makes that.
It's not about that. They buy a whole lot of stuff.
I agree.
And I'm a contractor. I'm a vertical contractor, steel building. Horizontal construction does not with my fancy. None of those projects, they don't mean anything to me. But I do know, I do a lot of state work. And I have not signed, matter of fact, I signed a $37 million contract 2 weeks ago from the state of Louisiana. It specifically spells out minority participation.
Totally agree. This contract has nothing to do with construction. This is procurement only.
I understand that.
So
Who's going to install it?
Again, I don't know. I have no
City
idea. That's
workers
not
install
part
it.
of, no.
Okay.
This
All
is just procurement. The state contract is just procurement. And that is what that is.
I think that's an important, I'm glad that was said. So this is about buying product right now at the cheapest price according to state contract, right? So that there's no markup for, also, we've done this many times. We've had, okay, this is state contract. It's the best price you can possibly get. And, we rely on that and we use that because we have to be stewards of taxpayer money. We have to, not spend extra money when there's the cheapest price available. So the fact that the city workers are doing it, this isn't a job where someone's getting paid time to do things. It is buying a product and buying it at the cheapest price that's available. I certainly see your point about minority-owned businesses and actual work. That makes a big difference.
Discussion about that. I think that the discussion and the point that I'm making is it's not centered around this particular situation. It's centered around the big elephant in the room. The big elephant in the room is the fact that the city of Hammond does not support minority participation. And can I finish, please? Thank you. Could you step back a little bit? I get a little leery somebody standing around me. Don't know what you're doing about that turn.
You need your 6 feet.
Yeah. So I think we just need to, in the future, take a look at it. Not just for minorities, particular, but you have WBE, you have women-owned businesses, and it's MBE, and a whole lot of other designations that are attached to a lot of fundings that the city receives. And whether or not we are implementing or not, that's up on the city. But I think it'll be well served for all who would like to participate. They may not be able to come in as a prime contractor, but if we have the right process in place, he can come in as a subcontractor.
Mm-hmm.
and participate. And then even if he's the lowest bidder, if he doesn't have the proper minority participation, you don't accept that bid. That's how the process works. So I think we need to take a look at that as we move forward. I know it's something that a lot of people don't like to do, but the rest of the world, they do it, and it works real well. And it does give people the proper opportunity to participate. Thank you.
What I would encourage, and we've dealt a lot with this to help others participate in this, is when you do buy off of a procurement contract, like the state contract, and you break your projects up into procurement, where you can get the lowest price for procurement. And then construction, as far as the other side, you can help other groups, because when you throw the price of the generator, just like you're looking at this project right now, you're looking at roughly a $100,000 generator, you're looking at $30,000 as far as the construction around that. If you divide that up, buy your product as cheap as you can, then you can encourage others and have better participation for the construction, which would be a lower portion price and easier to buy. We try to work with a lot of people that way because it really helps you. Because if you do the other way, that you group it up into a total project, one, you have larger costs. So if I, as the distributor, took that generator, sold it to an electrical contractor, they're gonna mark it up and then they're gonna sell it to you if it's in a construction project. You can save money, you can encourage better participation, and it would definitely be a suggestion that I could help you save money for future contracts and increase participation.
Thank you.
Again, all I ask is for the opportunity to be able to go to him and purchase the generator and give us opportunities so minorities can have a chance to get some of these contracts. That's a lot of government funding contracts coming this way, and the minorities are not getting any of it. You know, that needs to stop. That's all I'm asking. I'm not telling you change the whole world, but we all need help. We need a voice. We need to make some of this money too. This is America.
Thank you. Mr. David, Mr. Ron, and Mr. General Red, I'm gonna say that. No, I thank all y'all, but I say this here too. For every business started downtown, it started small, and it grew. And so, we're in a world, and I say it all the time, we all see color. People just asking for opportunity. Mr. David has been up here several times, and when we, as the councilman and as the administration, take it personal, we see it, and it don't make sense. The person, the man, the female is asking for an opportunity. That's all they're asking for. And me as a mayor, I'm not gonna keep begging nobody for nothing. And so, and that's when y'all start saying, a mad black man. No, he's not mad. He can't keep walking and crawling, asking for something. And so, you want to be the mayor, the next mayor. So if you don't open your eyes now and see what's going on, you'll never make it. You're going to always be the administration, and that won't last long. And I'm saying this here because we can't keep just saying this. No. People ask questions, explain it to them. The lady asked something in Steve Leon district. Couldn't nobody even explain it. Now, how she can go and find something that planning and zoning couldn't find, it don't make sense. We shouldn't even have to be up here going through this if we do the things the right way and respect everybody. That's all I ask for. That's what I've been saying from day one. A female, a male, a color, it doesn't matter. I don't care who it is. If somebody asks me something, I'm going to do everything I can do to fight for them. That's all I ask for. And I wish the councilman wake up. 2024 is coming. Let's do better than we did this year. If the administration can't agree with us and work with us, we need to make changes. Point blank. Thank you. That's it.
All right. Can I get a motion, please?
So this first one is just to move the funds, correct?
Yes.
Yes. All right, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, is this the one that was contingent No, that was the other one, sorry. Sorry.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye. Resolution number 6.
Number 6.
Wait a minute.
We on 6?
I'm sorry, 7.
Yeah, okay. I'll-
7.
You wanna do that one again?
No.
Going forward, man.
Going backwards.
A resolution to purchase a Generac Industrial 500 kW diesel engine-driven generator to support City Hall and the council chambers buildings for a cost of $99,143.21. State contract number 4400026-321-SD 500-208V. Lacey Landrum.
I think we've already explained, this is on state contract, that's how we have the purchasing authority. We've gone through all the documentation, it's also attached. If there's additional questions.
Anyone else from the public on this item? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Yes, sir. Could you explain to me a belt-driven generator, please? What's the difference?
It's a belt-driven generator is just kind of part of the description. It's basically a diesel engine. This one, I believe, is a Perkins that's attached to the actual alternator. There's no direct drive. I mean, excuse me, it is a direct drive. There is no, any kind of gearbox or anything involved in it. This is one of our better generators.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I will preface this up to 5-year bumper-to-bumper warranty, as they say. So the state contract offers you a lot of protections with that, so it is covered.
Yeah. Say that on the mic where they can hear you, man. I like that.
Bumper to bumper for 5 years. Anyway, we will support you with the maintenance as well as your warranty provider. Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Second.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Reports, mayor's office.
I'll just remind everybody that the Christmas parade is Friday night, starts at 6 p.m. That is all taken care of by the Hammond Noon Rotary Club. And then our train is continuing to run in Zemery Park each weekend. On Fridays, it's from 6 to 9 p.m. On Saturday and Sundays, it's from 5 to 9 p.m. We've had a huge turnout of people, and the park just looks lovely right now. The last day the train will run is December 23rd, and that is all free to our families. Last update, we have received 3 months worth so far, so we're in our first quarter of receiving sales tax, and we are remarkably about 1.67% ahead of budget, roughly about $441,000 ahead of budget. Usually we are either right at budget or in the hole right now, waiting for Christmas to come and everybody to finish their shopping. So this is really good news for us for our fiscal year.
Very good.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Landrum. Any council reports?
I had, Mr. Mesa wanted to, I'm gonna give him my time. He had something he wanted to talk about.
Sergio Mesa, 101 West Thomas Street. I'm a representative from Mr. Marshall. We were on the agenda previously, and it was tabled by Councilman Divatorio. 2 parts. Number 1, what is the exact process and time frame that something can be tabled? And well, is there a legal answer to that, or a rule book, or anything like that? Because no determined amount of time was given to us when it was tabled.
Yeah, so Robert's, and I looked that up because that was an issue that was raised. Robert's Rules of Order, once something is tabled, somebody's got to bring it back up to come back off the table. Our custom has been the council president usually makes that determination when it comes back up. 3 members of the council could vote to put that back up, but as I understand it, my recommendation is it would come back up at the next meeting in January. And I did speak with Mr. Marshall this afternoon.
Okay, this is new information to me, so, I was here to represent him and ask these questions. So second part is, I want to be very clear of what we're asking for here. We are asking to go from parish land to be annexed into the city of Hammond and also to be included into the subdivision. Now, I know we're now discussing zoning, different zoning qualifications and zones that would be allowed for the various uses. We want single-family homes. I understand that the zoning that was proposed does allow for what I understand is duplexes. not necessarily multifamily units, but duplexes are allowed. I believe that this is more of an issue of zoning with the actual subdivision, not necessarily our piece of property. We want to be annexed into the city. He wants to create 3 home sites. He wants to basically replicate what he already has across the street. And at this point, we've been at this for months. The city is actually, in jeopardy of losing this as a client and to create 3 home sites that obviously would create more taxes and whatnot for the city. So essentially, I would like some clarification on how we can get back on the agenda as quick as possible, and also that it be very clear that we are trying to put single-family homes and that we don't necessarily want to get into the battle between the councilman and the planning and zoning department on what zoning should be there. That's more of a subdivision type zoning situation. We're asking to be a part of that subdivision so that we can get the utilities and the infrastructure and the streets that are allowed inside of the subdivision.
Sir, I'm gonna make it clear real quick. You missed the last meeting whenever this was on the agenda. No. Let me. Hey, I'll let you talk. I'll let you talk.
To be clear, I didn't miss it. I was here.
You were here after it came on agenda.
Put in front of me.
You were. I'm talking right now. I'll let you talk. Okay. And so therefore, you came after that. It's in my district. I had some concerns raised by residents in there, and I said I tabled it after the holidays. I made it clear. It was in that meeting. After holidays, meaning after New Year's, that would be in January. And so therefore, I made a motion to table it. It was in my district because I had some concerns raised on it, and that's where we're at. I told you that originally. You knew about it. As soon as you came, I sat there and talked to you after the meeting, so it was clear. It wasn't on the agenda tonight, and it's not on the agenda tonight. And we're working on things to make sure everything goes well, and that's it. And my district comes first, and that's kind of where it's at. And if they raise concerns on it, and it's not in the city right now, then that's what's going on right now. Just like everything else. I mean, this is important to the district, and that's what we're doing right now, and that's where we're at. And I made it clear, so there's no confusion. It was after the holidays I tabled it to. That would be in January. And I've already talked to James today. He called me. I've talked to Andre about the issue, and we're working on it and looking at it. Yeah, I'm finished. You're good now.
Okay. So the problem is that none of this information was privy to us unless it was asked repeatedly, and there's no time frame on it. So I know you're saying after the holidays, but generally a date is set so that you can get back on the agenda. I even called you personally where that phone call was not returned. So now the actual buyer that is under contract is wanting to know how long this is going to take. You're now messing with his livelihood and his time frame. He's been at this for months.
Sorry, Joe. Are you buying it? Are you owning it? Okay. I talked to the owner who's buying it today on the phone. Not you. You don't own it.
I gave him.
He does. I talked to him, and he is aware of it, and we were clear when we talked. So that's really, he should be here. So I'm dealing with him. Exactly. And we talked to her.
I spent $3,000 to come down here to talk to you.
We already talked on the phone.
Because I gave him your number. I understand that. I wouldn't be here.
So what are you getting at? So what are you getting at?
How do we get back on the agenda?
It'll be on the agenda whenever the next meeting comes up.
Which is?
I already said after holiday, January.
January 9th.
January
Yeah.
9th.
For my council, oh, yes, ma'am. Come on.
My name is Pat Lamonte. I actually own the property that they're discussing. And what I'd like to do is, not sure if this is kosher or not, but I'd like to set up a time to meet with you to find out what your exact concerns are. I did leave you a voicemail today and also a text message, neither of which was returned. So I would like to find out what your concerns are. I do know that there was a gentleman who came to the planning meeting because he just wanted to find out more of what was going on. Okay? He came, we explained to him it was single-family homes. He stood up, he said, I have no problem. He said, I have no problem with this at all. So I'm a little confused as to what the concern would be. All we're doing is extending.
I talked to him and you called me?
I did.
You did, exactly. You called me, and there's no time frame on when I can call you back. I tabled this item to after the holidays. That was clear. This is not after the holidays. So therefore, there's no time frame when I call you back, and there's other things on my agenda that I'm doing today. So therefore, that's it. Made it clear. I hadn't heard from you before then. Today, called their city council meeting, everything going, and I don't have to explain to myself that. And you can call me and talk to me outside this meeting that this is not on the agenda. And so I talked to the guy too, and he was concerned. The intent of single families does not mean that you cannot change and go double families afterwards, because it's zoned for double families. So the intent means nothing. The zoning is double. The intent to put single families mean nothing. So on paper, they wanted to make sure it was clear that it was single family. So that's where the concerns are, and that's it. And I'll have no problem talking to you outside of this meeting, but this is not on the agenda, and I tabled it for a reason, because during the holidays, and we were working on trying to get things to work together to get this thing done. So therefore, I didn't vote no to it. We didn't vote no to it. I wanted to look at, see what's the best way to do it, to see what can happen. So it's kind of like y'all trying to, tag me on this issue whenever at the end of the day, it's not in the city limits. So we have to annex, has to come in the city limits. And if the people in there are concerned about a certain issue, I'm going to address that issue before we take something in the district that I represent.
Okay.
So that's where we're at right now.
Original meeting, but if you found others, then.
Okay. That's fine. Thank you.
I will say this here. I'm gonna say happy holidays and enjoy your holidays. Be safe. And that was another personal attack by a city councilman to another city councilman. Those are things I just spoke on. We're gonna have to do better. We represent our district, and yet we represent the city of Hammond. And as a whole, we all need to go pray and do better. And remember the holidays, and you and your family be safe and be careful.
Any other reports? Okay. Again, happy holidays to everyone. This is our last council meeting for the year. Enjoy the parade that's coming up in the next couple of days. Take this time to fellowship with friends and family. Don't eat too much, but have a good time. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Meeting adjourned.